everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 2000 Project, where Russell and I go through every single movie that we possibly can from the year 2000. Russell, how are you?
Fantastic. Looking forward to talking about two different films, um, and not the one that you would think is the better of the two. So looking forward to talking about that.
I have a feeling that one of the movies we're going to talk about is going to split opinion between us and the viewer slash listener. I guess we'll just have to see. But if you are watching, please leave a like and subscribe. If you're listening, please leave a 5-star on Spotify. We would greatly appreciate it. I want to give a thank you to everyone who has checked out the Superman Returns review with Robert Meyer Burnett. It's one of my favorite videos I've done in quite a while, and Robert was just an amazing guest to have. Like, it was just 2 hours that just flew by. So if you checked it out, I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It's on the channel now. Please go and give that a check out if you would like to do so. Because rewatching Superman Returns, I have to say, it's not as bad as some people have said. It's not like outstanding, but it's not as terrible as I've seen. It's overlooked, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's been a hot minute since I saw it. I like Kate Bosworth enough as Lois Lane. I think she's pretty good, and Brandon Routh was serviceable enough. I think at the time, I did start to watch a little bit of that Robert Meyer Burnett. The Superman Returns. I'm like 10 minutes into it, so I do want to kind of like check that out and kind of skim through that. But yeah, it's I mean it's an okay film. And who would have thought, Kevin Spacey, questionable there, was as Lex Luthor later on, you know what I mean? Like, but anyway, it's a decent enough film. It's definitely serviceable. I mean, there have been worse, obviously.
Yeah, it's interesting going through all of the solo Superman films because you got two all-timers in Superman and Superman 2. And you get two stinkers in Superman 3 and 4. And you got Superman Returns, the one that no one remembers, and then you got Man of
Yeah.
Steel that just splits opinion. So it's like Superman in the movies is just hot, cold, with like no like in between.
Yeah. And I'm in the camp for Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I think
Yeah.
Cavill was a great Superman. So yeah.
The Man of Steel review is forthcoming here on the channel, so stay tuned for that. But let's get to talking about some 2000 stuff, and let's get straight into the one that's probably going to divide opinions. It is Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai.
Power equality. Always see everything in brothers.
Now here we go.
This was directed by Jim Jarmusch, who would later go on to direct movies like Patterson, Only Lovers Left Alive, and The Dead Don't Die. And it starred Forrest Whitaker, John Tormey, Cliff Gorman, among others. And it tells the story of a man named Ghost Dog, that is his character's name, played by Forrest Whitaker. He is a hitman who really, really, really is into samurai stuff, to the point where he quotes samurai, like the Bushido code, to himself, and he uses that code to hunt down a mafia member who killed his father. And I'm cobbling that together in my head because, to be perfectly honest, this movie was not it, and it was kind of hard to remember. And we were talking about this off air, Russell. This is the most bizarre, like, popular movie amongst, like, critics, I guess, that I think I've encountered in a very long time.
Which I really can't understand why, because I don't think it's very good film. I mean, kind of what we were saying, it's very mundane, it's very slow. The action scenes aren't even really action scenes. I mean, and it's like it's so random. Like even annoyances like with the ice cream guy that he can't understand, but all of a sudden literally says the same thing that he just said. Like, did you notice that too? Like right after he says it,
Yeah.
it's super annoying. It's almost as annoying as the Valiant Hours with the narration. Like I
Gallant
would
Hours.
even the Gallant Hours. Sorry, the Gallant Hours. I would even throw that out there. But God, man, it
It
was a
just
rough one.
The thing about this movie that needs to be understood is that this Jim Jarmusch, just from the eyeball test, clearly wanted to make an Akira Kurosawa style samurai movie, and this just was not it. I admire the attempt. It certainly is not a horrible movie. It's very weird, but like the kind of weird where you're scratching your head the entire time, like, why was this a choice that was even remotely even thought about?
Yeah, and the fact that it has a cult following is crazy. It's 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a Criterion release, like which I just do not understand. Like I could see The Room getting a Criterion release just because it's The Room. You know what I mean? Like honestly, if we're gonna do that, let's do a Criterion of The Room. I just don't get this one. I don't get the camp with this. I don't understand like a lot of the unsung critics like really praise this film, and I'm like, I don't understand why. I don't get it.
If Criterion can get a licensing deal out of Tommy Wiseau, then I'll be here for it. But and just Forrest Whitaker's the best part of this movie. He's clearly trying, and there are like kernels of a good idea in here. Like it's a revenge movie. Who doesn't like those? But it goes from Ghost Dog doing samurai drills on a roof and then petting a pigeon to then like, I can't believe it's not The Sopranos. Like Jim Jarmusch clearly was watching The Sopranos and was like, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. Like, there have been so many better revenge films. Obviously, like I'll use like Charles Bronson's Death Wish. I think that the first couple Death Wishes are pretty solid, and then they get really over the top. I even think later on, Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon, that James Wan directed, I think is fantastic. I think that's a really good film. Taken, like other films with revenge, I'm saying have been done better. This one just like you aren't really that sympathetic with people, and the fact that the guy that Forrest Whitaker or Ghost Dog kill him before the final stand or whatever, which kind of like makes me kind of like annoyed because you could have finished it off, I don't know. Yeah. I
guess it was the more noble path to let him go. It's very odd. And just like there's one character, this like girl who's in her early to mid 20s, and she's unironically reading Rashomon, which I read some pretty heady stuff when I was in my teens, but I never read Rashomon. Like I was just like, really? That? Like you couldn't be even more like, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards, like moment like that.
Yeah.
Like she's reading Rashomon. It's like, guys, this is what I'm trying to be, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, and the fact that the book gets passed around throughout the film too, it's just kind of like, well, I don't understand what we're doing here. I just I appreciate it trying to be different and stand itself out, but at the end of the day, I just feel like it's very forgettable. And like we said, the fact that this got a Criterion release is just absolutely mind blowing. It's super crazy. Like you said, though, Forrest Whitaker is the best part of this. He's definitely trying. This is obviously before Forrest Whitaker really caught his stride. I thought he was solid in films in the 90s. Like, I thought he was good at, serviceable, Good Morning Vietnam. I liked him in Species. He was a side character in that film. I mean, he's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. I just think that in this, the script really didn't give him much to work with. You just aren't invested in these characters. You don't understand why, he like that's the other thing I want to say. Ghost Dog. I honestly thought this was a cartoon, and I told you that. I really thought it was, oh, wait, a samurai. I was like, oh, like it's like a dog who thinks he's a samurai. Like, what I mean? I legit thought that's what it was. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit. I remember the cover of the film and I remember it. And then it hit me. I'm like, oh crap, this is actually a live action film. Oh crap. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh boy. So this one's just a miss for me though. I couldn't get into it. It drags. It's 2 hours. It drags.
Yeah, it's very forgettable for me as well. And one of the things about Criterion Collection is that there are movies like Armageddon, The Rock, and RoboCop in there and they're like mixed in with these very like Neil Jordan, Akira Kurosawa, like these like held up on a pedestal as like films, and yet Ghost Dog is in there too, and like and just like, what are the standards like nowadays? Like that whole big Godzilla box set is in the Criterion Collection with Godzilla throwing a drop kick. Like,
yeah. And even Wes Anderson has a huge box set too, and I feel like anything that he puts out is automatically, you know, thrown to Criterion. Anora just had a Criterion release. Like I have that. But like there's a lot of stuff like David Lynch's stuff. I have like Lost Highway. I have Mulholland Drive. But yeah, kind of what you said, like eyeball test. Like what are we doing? Armageddon. I bought the. I ended up getting it. I ordered on Amazon the DVD Criterion. Yeah, just because I think Ben Affleck does a commentary on there, and I kind of want to watch it with his commentary on there.
I'm actually going to be reviewing it on Jacob Martin's channel very soon. I've never seen it, so it's going to be my first time. No, I've seen the video for I Don't Want to Miss a Thing about 20 million times, so I'm aware of what Armageddon is about and roughly what happens, but I've never seen it all the way through. But that will be remedied very soon.
Saw that in the theaters when it came out, man. I was a big fan. I know it's either hate or love it. I am on Team Armageddon over Deep Impact that summer of asteroid films, end of the world asteroid films. But yeah, got to check it out. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it when you do finish it.
Well, that'll be on Jacob Martin's channel. I'll let everyone know like when we go live about that, but that'll be in the next week or so. But
cool.
Let's conclude this trip and let's conclude this 2000 Project episode by taking a look at a movie I didn't expect to like. It's weird at points, but it's actually rather decent, I think. It's directed by Mike Pisnarski. I hope I'm saying that right. It stars Lily Sobieski, Chris Klein, Josh Hartnett, Michael Rooker, Bruce Greenwood, and Ed O'Toole, among others. And it tells the story of a young man named Kelvin, played by Chris Klein, who is graduating from a prestigious high school, and it gets a car for a graduation gift from his very estranged father. He takes it on a drag race with one of the local boys named Jasper, played by Josh Hartnett. The two end up crashing into the local diner and destroying it. And it is up to Kelvin and Jasper to fix it. All the while, Kelvin falls in love with Jasper's girlfriend, Samantha, played by Lily Sobieski, and let the love triangles ensue. So this is a love triangle movie. And if you have watched Small Talk, you will know that I do not care for love triangles. But I got to admit, Russell, I liked this more than I was expecting to. And this is not a well-liked movie at all.
No, shout out Black Balloon, Goo Goo Dolls. Way to start the film. Fantastic jam, by the way. I love that song. And it would not be Josh Hartnett's. He would not be shy of love triangles because a year later he would be in Pearl Harbor with a love triangle with Ben Affleck and Kate Beckinsale. So, anywho, yeah, I didn't know. Like, I was surprised Josh Hartnett was in this film. I knew Chris Klein was in it and Lily Sobieski, obviously. And another, you want to talk about an actress who just dropped off. I was looking at her IMDb because she was big after Joyride, and then she had this, and she had some other films, and then she just kind of like disappeared. But Chris Klein, obviously, recognizable from the American Pie franchise, the first three, or actually, well, with Reunion too, and some rom-coms here and there, but I dug it enough. I liked it enough. I was kind of surprised the direction we did go, and we were talking about that off air. I was surprised because I knew we mentioned something in this film, and I knew that we had to go back to it because we're alluding to this thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, we got to go. We introduced this because it has to come back up again, and it does. And you wonder what's happening. And sure enough, we turn into another film that would come out a couple years later.
Yeah, it takes a hard left at a point. But like you mentioned, Josh Hartnett is here. He's good.
Yeah.
Chris Klein, aka Oz from American Pie, is the main star, and I did not
Yeah.
expect to see him. I'm like, why do you look so familiar to me? And sure enough, 99 Project always rearing its head. Sure enough, he was
Yeah.
Oz in American Pie. And
Yeah.
the movie's got a stacked cast too. Like Bruce Greenwood
Oh,
plays the sheriff, Annette
fa-
O'Toole, aka Martha Kent from Smallville. She is the sheriff's wife. She's good. Um, Michael Michael Rooker is in this movie, and every time I saw him, I'm like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Just Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 reference.
yeah. No, it definitely is a who's who of the 90s and 2000s. Something I did learn, like something you do observe when watching Chris Klein. He's very reminiscent of Keanu Reeves. Very dry actor, like dry delivery. Very kind of like doesn't really have like, and that's no. Listen, I love Keanu Reeves, but he just reminds me a lot of his like dry delivery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and obviously with the Keanu Reeves resurgence and stuff like that, obviously with John Wick, it's which is great. But Chris Klein, another person, another actor that you saw kind of just disappear after the 2000s, man. After you had the American Pie franchise, and then he would pop up in different films, kind of like Jason Biggs did, and then just kind of find his way out, But serviceable enough. Bruce Greenwood's fantastic. He's always great. He always plays a great side character in films. He's a very underrated actor.
Yeah, and Chris Klein is he's still working somewhat. He was just in Fear Street Prom Queen on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
which I didn't catch. Yeah.
He's still kicking around out there. And
Good.
and like we've been alluding to, this movie takes a really big turn in terms of content at a certain point. Something is teased, like something with Lily Sobieski's character's leg, and
Yeah.
you don't know why they keep coming back to it. And then it's revealed that she has, and I looked it up, so I'm going to read it, osteosarcoma, which is, to put it in layman's terms, is bone cancer.
Yeah.
And it's terminal, so she is going to die. And so the movie takes a pretty big turn at that point. And I think there's a really good scene where Bruce Greenwood like says goodnight to her and then starts crying like out on his porch. And I'm just like, yeah, this is just really hard to watch. Like I get why some people wouldn't like this movie, because there's a lot of weird stuff, and we'll get into it in a second, but there's still a lot of good stuff here that I feel like gets buried.
For sure. A movie I was alluding to, obviously, that we would revisit this type of setup is A Walk to Remember, obviously, with Shane West and Mandy Moore. Kind of what you said. Yeah, there are scenes there where when you hit this, sharp left or sharp right that it makes like 3/4 through this film, that the leg's coming up somehow. What's happening when they're running? Something's happening. Oh, she hurt herself. Oh, okay, no big deal, right? And then you find out she has bone cancer, and and to me, it's like I appreciate how we're trying to amend, Chris Klein and Josh Hartnett's character to tolerate and like one another, because they are pining for the same woman. But I do like the character growth that we do see with that, though. Like, Chris Klein's family is pretty much kind of just like isolated him. His mother passed away. His dad's very rich and just kind of just throws money at him as his way of showering him with affection and love. So he really doesn't know what love really is, or what affection, or what all that stuff is. He's kind of just following in what his dad lays forth with him, going to a prestigious school, being a valedictorian, going on to the next, grad school and all this other stuff, starting grad school early, and pretty much following his dad's dreams for him. And then you have Josh Hartnett's character, who's not as educated. They allude to that as well. I do like that. I mean, obviously we see that class system all the time. They did it obviously like with The Notebook and other films like that, where you always see them, I can't believe you're gonna throw it all away for that, but in this case, it's the guy that actually is educated. Do you know what I mean? That she's going to go for. But it's heartbreaking though, because you see Josh Hartnett's character really, confess his love for Lily Sobieski's character, knowing that they're never going to be a thing. They were a thing because they were like childhood sweethearts or whatever. And now she just pretty much, she loves them, but just like a friend, you know what I mean? And it's kind of tough though. And then you have to understand that she's going through the bone cancer. So she's going through this terminal illness that's not going to be able to be cured. So it definitely takes a turn to Serious Town, but kind of what you said, I do like it. It works for me.
Yeah, the thing that kind of hurts it a little is when the weird stuff pops up. Like there's a scene where where Kelvin and I forgot Lily Sobieski's character's name. Hang on.
Oh, it's isn't it? No, it's not Sarah.
Samantha. That's
Samantha. I knew it began with an S.
And they're on a date, and she tells him about her leg. He starts kissing her foot, and it comes so out of nowhere that I just had to be like, whoa, buddy, like what's going on? What have we just stumbled into here?
Yeah, and then another weird thing they're playing is like the geography game. Like we're gonna go to North Carolina, we're going to South Carolina, we're like kissing up her, like going up, and you know what I mean? Like I think it's the same. It's the same scene where she's kissing her leg, kissing her toes or whatever. I'm like, what the hell are you like? What are we doing here? It's really weird.
Just very uncomfortable. And then later on, Kelvin gets drunk because there's this big 4th of July bash and he's not invited. So he gets drunk and starts like talking to the cows on Jasper's family's ranch. And he's like, you get to be my date tonight. I would be a great date for you. And I'm just like, we get it. You're sad. Like, just go there and start the fight already. And the fight does happen, but it takes a weird detour into like the Hangover territory before we finally get there. It just was like, wow, that was something, all right.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know where it's going. Obviously, he ends up going to the fair or whatever they have for this 4th of July thing, ends up confronting Josh Hartnett, and he charges Josh Hartnett, who moves out of the way, and he runs into this thing and kind of makes an ass out of himself. And that's really it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. Obviously, then she's kind of mad at him because you have to have that strife within the film. You know, you have to have that division, you know.
He runs headfirst into a drum. It's like a Looney Tunes sketch or something.
It's so embarrassing too, man, because like he's like drunk and he really didn't even have that much. I think he had like not even a 6-pack. So we'll question his alcohol intake. Technically, I don't think he's not even 21, so he shouldn't even be drinking. So
that's what I wanted to know. Like, isn't he graduating high school? Like,
so technically,
high school graduates are like 18.
Yeah,
so it raises a lot of questions. But overall, I do believe that this movie gets like not necessarily like hated on, I guess, but like the letterbox graph does not look good. I'll just leave it at that. But for me personally, minus its foibles, it is a genuinely touching story at times. I'm going to give this a good rating. It was better than the sum of its parts, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it enough. I would recommend it. I have a soft spot for like 90s and 2000s, just in general, the drama. Like I would say, not rom-com because it's not funny by any means, but like a romantic, dramatic drama, romance films, rom-coms. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's not a rom-com, but I just like those types of films that you know what I mean, that you always like are rooting for the characters to get together, you know, and it's the same. It's the same formula. We watch it all the time, and you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm a sucker for it. I like the soundtrack. Like I said, shout out to Black Balloon. Goo Goo Dolls is a fantastic song. I've been jamming to that. I've been jamming to that the last couple of days since I watched the movie because I'm like, God, it's such a banger. So it makes me miss that 90s and 2000s sound. You know what I mean? Soundtracks to films and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll like all of you at home, definitely, if you have somehow never seen it, check out check out the Goo Goo Dolls doing Iris in front of that concert in like '05, where it's just like pouring rain. It's like some of the most stirring concert footage you've ever seen.
Really? We'll have to YouTube that up.
I will send it to you if you've never seen it. But
Yeah.
but that's all for the 2000 project this time around. We were supposed to cover Leprechaun in the Hood, but it's so bad and so boring that we just decided. I've seen it. Russell hasn't, just because time just got away from us. But it's a brutal movie, folks. We'll get to it at another time. We're
looking forward to
we're gonna have to if we're gonna be completionists about this whole thing. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these two movies? Let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. And Russell, it is a privilege to do this with you every week. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, we are actually going to be recording Anora finally. We were going to do that tomorrow. So tomorrow night, we're going to do Anora, Notorious by Chance. So check that out for probably the weekend, beginning of next week. It'll drop, and then we'll start putting polls up, get back into the swing of things there. Notorious by Chance is the Facebook group. That's where we put the polls up. I think we're like one person shy away from 600 members. So small steps. You guys can also find us on X at NBC Podcast, and also on TikTok the same. Gotta get better on the TikTok. I that's my fault. But yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to though.
Yeah, the links will be in the description. Go give them a subscribe over there. As far as this channel goes, next Friday we will be returning to the horror movie Iceberg. We'll be diving into our next franchise by taking a look at the Rec/Quarantine movies, and we will be starting off with 2007's Rec. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.